Who, what, where, when, why? Denver Metro Audits receives the ability to serve subpoenas on YouTube Google to find the identities of Dr. Dave and the man only known as the Exposer. Will they file them up with new lawsuits? Jose Chille DeCastro confuses everyone with a new filing to respond to a motion to dismiss nearly 2 months after he missed the deadline to reply to the motion to dismiss, and another 3 weeks after the defendants asked for the judge to enforce the motion to dismiss. Will the Lawrence County defendants finally be free of his lawsuits? Denver Metro Audits and his attorney, that Randall S, the Unhinged Attorney Newman, Esquire, get a major win as judge deems case would survive a motion to dismiss and grants them the ability to subpoena Google/YouTube for Frauditor Troll's information. Plus, Jeremiah Payne does what Jeremiah Payne is going to do: promise a lawsuit after an interaction with police. Will he finally file? I am your humble news reader, Pants. You're not easily offended by these stingers featuring my charm and panache, are you? I'm ready to be your thesaurus of love as we find ourselves seeking the existential meaning of auditing insanity. Tuesday saw another live stream held by Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova and that Randall S, the Unhinged Attorney Newman, Esquire, as they brought news about their efforts to track down a man simply known as the Exposer, who runs the 1A Audits Expose YouTube channel. The Exposer recently appeared on a Friday live stream with Frauditor Mania, where he said that the imposing team of Cordova and Newman would never know his name, as his YouTube channel was registered to a company and not his real name. Cordova and Newman appeared closer to discovering if that was true on Monday, when they were granted the ability to file a subpoena for that information from YouTube by a court in the Northern District of California. It was one of 2 subpoena requests granted on Monday, with the other going towards the pair's efforts to unmask the information about Dr. Dave Debunker of Frauditors channel. The Exposer made efforts to sue him a bit earlier in the week, as he officially filed a DMCA counter notice to fight the 17 DMCA takedown notices that YouTube granted against his channel. Using what the pair described as a Montreal, Quebec, Canada-based attorney, the Exposer filed a blanket response to the DMCA takedown, with his lawyer indicating that she would accept service any lawsuit that came from the counterclaim. Cordova and Newman seemed pleased, as this was the first time someone filed a counterclaim since Cordova's campaign to hold those who use his material accountable began earlier this month. To clarify previous coverage, while YouTube has been restoring videos when counter-DMCA notices have been filed in the cases like those involving Cordova, No such counterclaims have been filed by those he has targeted, except for the new counterclaim by the exposer. Going into details about 16 of the 17 videos that received strikes, Cordova described them as YouTube shorts that essentially were comprised of 90% of material from Cordova's material, followed by a short reactionary clip from a popular TV series. According to Cordova's account, at no time did the exposer include any transformative material, just a clip from shows like The Office as a reaction to the clip that was playing in the video. On Friday's live stream, the exposer seemed confident that he would win the DMCA appeals of his short-form videos, as they were directly taken from the long-form videos that he claimed that YouTube had restored. According to his statements on Friday, there was no distinction between a long-form video and a short-form video, as the short-form video was taken from the original material. This idea will be tested, as Cordova and Newman have indicated that they will be moving forward with a lawsuit against the YouTuber. By signing the DMCA counter, the exposer's attorney agrees to have the case heard in California's Northern District Court. It is unclear if the attorney is licensed to practice law in the United States, let alone California. As a response to the DMCA counterclaim, Cordova made a direct request to his fans to help him raise the $405 needed to file the new lawsuit against the exposer. He said that he was currently in a financial bind until his condominium was sold, and offered to pay his supporters back for their donations once he closed on the sale. Cordova directed his fans to his Cash App, PayPal, and GoFundMe accounts to contribute to the cause, with Newman later setting up a new GoFundMe account to handle the specific fundraising efforts. In the 12 hours after the broadcast, Cordova's Defend DMA and the Fight Against Corruption and Oathbreakers Fund saw no new donations, sitting at $905. The newly created Help Us Sue the Exposer for DMCA Violations Fund, seeking $405, also received no donations for the day. The day itself was dominated by Sean Paul Long Island Audit Reyes, who brought in $9,297 for his Stay With Me to Hold Brian Fahey Accountable campaign, and $60 towards his Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign. No other campaigns received donations for Tuesday. Diminutive YouTuber Jose Chille DeCastro returned to form on Tuesday after a manic Monday with a new live stream featuring anti-police videos and new action in both his Ironton, Ohio-based lawsuit, which he has refiled in Nevada, and his Nevada-based lawsuit against the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Starting with the Ironton case that is being held in Nevada, this lawsuit originated from a lawsuit against members of the Ironton, Ohio and Lawrence County, Ohio police forces and was filed in an Ohio district court. When DeCastro ultimately lost the case and was in the process of appealing the verdict based on new information that had been filed in response to the verdict, he refiled the case in Nevada District Court, claiming he had standing because his customers lived in Nevada. The case has lingered, with DeCastro showing a pattern of ignoring deadlines to serve the defendants in the case and making required timely responses to motions. As DeCastro is continuing patterns that he used in the previous lawsuit, some have said that it is a deliberate effort by DeCastro to extend the lawsuit for as long as possible. In this lawsuit, DeCastro was presented with two motions to dismiss within days of each other one from each set of defendants. He replied to the Ironton defendants, but seemed to ignore the May 12, 2025 deadline to reply to the Lawrence County defendants. After 6 weeks of waiting, the Lawrence County defendants asked for the judge in the lawsuit to dismiss them from the lawsuit in late June, citing DeCastro's failure to reply in a timely manner. In his new filing, DeCastro says that he should be given leeway as he is a pro se defendant, and his error was inadvertent and not intended to delay the proceedings or prejudice any party. He goes on to claim that he acted immediately upon discovery of his error and in a timely fashion. On May 19th, a week after the May 12th deadline, DeCastro filed a SOR reply in response to the Ironton defendants, only identified as such through DeCastro citing he was replying to Document 31 in the lawsuit. Document 31 is a reply to the motion to dismiss by the Ironton defendants. This SOR reply was stricken from the lawsuit on May 22nd, as DeCastro failed to ask for permission to file the reply. DeCastro asked for permission to file the SOR reply again on June 18th, which would be another response to the Ironton defendants and not the Lawrence County defendants. No ruling has been made on that request. In the new filing, DeCastro says that the SOR reply was a response to the Lawrence County defendants, despite not naming them directly, and filing the original SOR reply in response to the Ironton defendants. It is unclear how the logic works with his assurances due to the circumstances behind his filing. It is also noted that despite his statement that he had no intention of delaying the case, DeCastro's filing comes 3 weeks after the Lawrence County defendants made the request to be dismissed from the case, and a week after the deadline for a reply to that motion. Things look a bit better for DeCastro in his lawsuit against the LVMPD. Judge Andrew P. Gordon set a trial date for February 9th, 2026. Settlement conferences will be handled by U.S. Magistrate Judge Elena J. Uchia. DeCastro's Tuesday livestream was largely yet another rehash of his grievances against police in America. At one point, he announced that police cars are now fitted with AI recording devices that analyze individuals' information, but showed no proof to back the claims. The livestream followed a morning spent on Twitter where he spoke out against the moon landing and assured his followers that the Israeli Secret Service controlled the Epstein files. DeCastro has a new livestream scheduled for Wednesday. YouTuber Jeremiah Payne was literally standing under a sign reading "State Property No Trespassing" when he objected to an order by a City of Clarksville, Tennessee police officer to leave the area. The situation with Payne reflected more recent interactions with police in Clarksville, as Payne, with his Samantha and young daughter, were standing on a street corner in the Clarksville area holding anti-police signs as a part of their daily protest of the tyrants in Tennessee when approached by police. Payne said that he had been previously told that he wasn't doing anything wrong with his protest before 2 other officers joined the original responding officer. One of the new officers explained that the corners of the intersection were dangerous and marked with no trespassing because of safety concerns. He was countered by Payne's assertion that his wife was told she could stand on that particular street corner when she contested the previous ticket she received from police. Payne could not name the judge involved in that case, and the police officer continued with his order for Payne and his family to leave the street corner. The Tennessee tyrant hunter went into his usual tirade against the police at that point, making claims that the police will receive an extraordinary number of complaints based on the video he will release on the interaction. Payne also announced that he would be calling his lawyer after his family left the area, and told one officer that he would be stripped of his qualified immunity. Eventually, Payne was prompted by police to help his wife and child pack up their things. Payne gave one of his recording devices to his daughter, then chastised the officer who told him he shouldn't swear in the presence of his child. Payne explained that he swore around his child because she would be exposed to profanity in real life, and it wasn't a big deal. After a jump cut, no further mention was made of Payne's use of profanity. Eventually, the family began to move, and the officer explained that all four corners of the intersection were deemed state property and had no trespassing signs. Payne again argued that he could not be trespassed from state property, but complied with the order to keep moving. As Payne crossed the street, he complained that a car almost hit him and ordered the officers to arrest the driver. The officers did not comply with his orders. The description of the video continues Payne's thoughts on the interaction and reads, "Go back and pay attention to my last few videos. This is the same tyrant piece of shit who has been harassing me and my family ever since we moved back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and I'm going to take his qualified immediately. See, nobody else in this town has ever stood up to him and sudded him like I'm about to." Payne's video has been viewed 56 times as of press time. In a stunning blow to those who don't believe that Christopher, Denver Metro Audits, Cordova, and that Randall S, the Unhinged Attorney Newman, Esquire, have a chance to succeed in their ongoing litigation with the man known as Frauditor Troll, a California court granted their motion to file a subpoena of Google for the information behind the Frauditor Troll channel. In a decisive decision by United States Magistrate Judge Virginia K. DeMarchi, Cordova was granted the ability to issue a Rule 45 subpoena to Google/YouTube for information relating to the owner of the Frauditor Troll channel. She also affirmed that the complaint is valid and that the action against Frauditor Troll would withstand a motion to dismiss. Judge DeMarchi wrote, "Mr. Cordova has demonstrated that, 1, he can identify the defendant with sufficient specificity such that the court can determine that the defendant is a real person or entity who could be sued in federal court. 2, he has identified previous steps taken to locate the defendant. 3, his action against the defendant could withstand a motion to dismiss. And 4, there is a reasonable likelihood of being able to identify the defendant through discovery, such that the service of process would be possible." Frauditor Troll's identity has always been an industry secret that has been protected by fans or those fond of Troll based on his background as a family man who has small children at home to protect. When YouTubers Dr. Dave and Audit Them have threatened to expose his identity in the past, they've met with resistance from fans and even their own supporters, who have accused the men of attempting to dox Frauditor Troll to cause harm to his family. The same sort of accusations have been made in this case, where some fans claim that the entire lawsuit by Cordova is intended to dox Frauditor Troll's identity and expose him to those who might cause him harm through the use of his information. In her ruling, Judge DeMarchi said, Mr. Cordova has sufficiently demonstrated that while the case was originally filed against a named defendant, this name and the information associated with it may be fictitious, and discovery is needed to identify the correct individual for service. See docket number 11, the declaration of Randall S. Newman. Additionally, Mr. Cordova's application indicates that he has satisfied the registration requirements under 17 U.S.C. 411A for commencing a copyright infringement lawsuit. The judge was referring to the fact that the Jonathan Huneau name given in the DMCA counterclaim filed by Frauditor Troll may not be real. It also refers to Frauditor Troll knowingly or unknowingly leaving off the suite number of the address he provided where he could be served with a lawsuit, essentially preventing that service. The ruling by Judge DeMarchi also put some limitations on what Cordova could ask for when seeking the information about Frauditor Troll. She was concerned about a request seeking information about those users who posted, uploaded, downloaded, or modified the data at the following URL. Judge DeMarchi ruled that requiring YouTube to provide information on those who downloaded the video was overly broad, and ordered that request to be removed from the subpoena to be served to Google/YouTube. She further ordered Cordova to include her ruling with the subpoena and give Google/YouTube at least 30 days to respond. She further ordered Google/YouTube to issue service with a copy of the subpoena and order to the users whose information is required to be disclosed within 15 days of being served by Cordova. Responding to the ruling, Attorney Newman issued the following statement to ReallyCoolNews. The judge didn't just greenlight our subpoena, which we could have filed under 512H anyway. She made it clear this case isn't going anywhere. While Mailroom Boy and his merry band of trolls mocked the lawsuit as frivolous, the court found it legally sound and likely to survive a motion to dismiss. That's not just a procedural win, it's a public gut punch to the trolls' narrative that this is some kind of joke case. The only joke is thinking you can hide behind anonymity while committing copyright infringement and not get unmasked. We sought this subpoena through an ex parte application for early discovery because the defendant is anonymous, and we need to confirm who actually owns and operates the Frauditor Troll channel. That's standard and appropriate in federal litigation. The trolls keep crying doxing, but the judge specifically invited the defendant to seek a protective order if there are real privacy concerns. More importantly, I will keep identifying information in strict confidence, as required by the court's order, and will only use what's necessary for the purposes of the litigation. What they fear isn't exposure, it's accountability. The trolls should stop taking advice from a glorified mailroom boy that has zero experience litigating federal copyright claims. Newman received more good news on Thursday as the first donations were made to his Help Us Sue the Exposer for the DMCA Violations GoFundMe campaign. The campaign took in $25 in donations to come in third place in the crowdsourcing race for Thursday. Sean Paul Long Island Audit Reyes took the top two slots with a $40 take for his Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption campaign and a $5,078 take for his Stand With Me to Hold Brian Fahey Accountable campaign. No other campaigns received donations for Thursday. We need your help. Both ReallyCoolSite.org's daily newspaper and our daily newscasts are funded by your continuing donations and what we make from our YouTube AdSense revenue each month. If you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on, eating, feeding the cats, defending ourselves from lawsuit threats, and writing news stories to feature on both the newspaper and newscast each day, you can do so via a donation to our PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe accounts. If you can't afford to contribute, please watch our videos from beginning to end, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can help by doing next to nothing, and we thank you in advance for pitching in.